I'm John, and this isn't just a name. It's the curse I carry in my heart, the scar that will burn on my forehead forever. Everything began with that broken phone. I was visiting my older brother Michael in his new luxury apartment. 7 years separated us, and he had always been the model I looked up to. Successful surgeon, charming, endlessly generous. While I stumbled through my early college years, Michael stood at the top of the world. That evening, as we were having dinner, his smartphone slipped from his pocket and hit the tiled floor, shattering the screen. He didn't seem bothered. Instead, he smiled broadly and said, open quote, "Don't worry, I've got a spare in the bedroom." Close quote. He went to fetch it. After a few moments, he returned, looking a bit flustered. Open quote, "I forgot. The spare's at the clinic. I'll just use this one for now." Close quote. I didn't think much of it. But when he went to the kitchen to get dessert, I heard a faint notification sound. The broken phone was still on the table. On the cracked screen appeared a message from an encrypted messaging app. "The new patient is compatible. Session in the Red Room tomorrow at midnight. Make sure there are no mistakes this time." A chill crawled down my spine. The Red Room? Why would Michael, a respected surgeon, use such strange terminology? Maybe it was medical jargon or some research code. But curiosity got the better of me. When Michael got busy on a call, I slipped into his bedroom. The broken phone was on the nightstand. My hands trembled as I picked it up. The screen flickered, but still worked. The app was locked behind a password, but I remembered Mom's birthday. Michael used it for everything. I typed it in. The screen unlocked. What I saw froze the blood in my veins. Dozens of conversations, code names, international bank accounts, disturbing medical terms, live donor, viable organs, immediate shipment, purity of product. And worse, photos, not medical ones. These were of organs, tagged with handwritten labels, dates, and reference numbers. In one photo, a silver ring rested on a severed hand. I belonged to my friend Mark, who had vanished 3 months earlier. I stumbled out of the room, dizzy and cold. My brother, the man who had carried me on his shoulders when I was a child, was a monster. A human organ trafficker. A killer. That night, I didn't sleep. Michael said he'd be on a medical trip for 3 days. That was my chance. The next day, I went to his clinic under the pretense of bringing him some papers he'd left behind. The place looked as respectable as ever, immaculate, high-end, professional, but something felt off. There were no recent transplant files, only cosmetic surgeries. Then I noticed a strange detail, a large abstract painting of a red flower behind his desk. Michael always hated abstract art. Why would he hang that? I approached it. The frame was fixed tightly to the wall. When I tugged it, it moved slightly and revealed a hidden door. My heart hammered. I opened it slowly. Behind it was a small, dimly lit room that smelled of antiseptic and something metallic beneath it. Computers. Mini medical freezers. Inside the freezers, plastic bags filled with human organs, labeled with dates and codes. On the desk lay a black leather notebook. I opened it. Lists, coded entries, but some words were clear. Open quote, client 347, kidney $250,000. Client 521, liver $500,000. Nicknames like the Shepherd, the Ghost, minus. Close quote. Then I saw a page titled Potential Donors. Names, ages, blood types, follow-up dates. And mine was there. I staggered backward, nearly fainting. My brother had marked me as his next donor. That night, I planned to go to the police, but who would believe me? Michael was beloved, respected. I was a struggling student. I decided to confront him, but fate had darker plans. That night, a text arrived from an unknown number. Curiosity killed the cat, John, but in your case, it'll do worse. I jumped from bed, checked the window. Empty street. Then the phone rang. Michael opened quote, "Hey, little brother. How are you?" Close quote. His tone was gentle, but something in it was ice cold. Open quote, "Michael, I need to talk to you. I was hoping you'd say that. Come for dinner tomorrow. We'll talk about everything." Close quote. That phrase, everything, sounded like a death sentence. Before the meeting, I returned to the clinic one last time, determined to find undeniable proof. I hacked into the computer in the secret room. Inside, a folder labeled Red Room. Videos. I clicked one. A blood-red chamber, scarlet curtains, a surgical table in the center. Michael stood over a restrained man wearing surgical gear. The man's eyes were wide with terror. I stopped the video. I couldn't breathe. The Red Room wasn't a metaphor. It was a place. Michael wasn't just selling organs. He was broadcasting live torture surgeries on the dark web for paying viewers. I copied everything onto a flash drive and fled. That night, I went to the dinner. Michael acted normal, asked about my studies, smiled, until I asked, open quote, "What's the Red Room, Michael?" Close quote. His smile froze. Open quote, "What did you say?" Close. Open quote, "The Red Room. Organ donors, Mark and my name on your list." Close quote. He didn't deny it. Instead, his eyes filled with disdain. Open quote, "You idiot, didn't you know curiosity can be deadly?" Close quote. Open quote, "You're my brother. How could you?" Close quote. Open quote, "Brotherhood doesn't fill bank accounts, John." He laughed softly. "I've built an empire. I provide what few can. The clients pay generously." Close quote. Open quote, "You kill innocent people." Close quote. Open quote, "Everyone dies eventually. I just make their deaths profitable." Close quote. Then he leaned closer. Open quote, "You know, your blood type is rare. Clients ask for it often, but I always refused because you were my brother." Close quote. For a second, hope flickered. Then he added, open quote, "But now, since you know too much, you're no longer my brother. You're just inventory." Close quote. A sting in my neck. I turned. Someone in a mask was injecting me. Darkness. When I woke, I was tied to a surgical bed. Scarlet curtains surrounded me. Cameras pointed at my face. Michael stood at the foot of the bed, wearing white scrubs, holding a scalpel. Open quote, "Welcome to the premiere, little brother," he whispered. "Tonight's viewers are paying $1 million to see a live operation on family." Close quote. I screamed, pleaded, but his eyes were colder than death. Open quote, "Don't worry, I'll use local anesthesia. We want you awake to feel it." Close quote. He raised the scalpel, but then chaos, explosions, shouting, "Police! Hands up!" Armed officers stormed the room. Michael grabbed me, pressed the scalpel to my throat. Open quote, "Back off, or he dies." Close quote. Before anyone could move, one of the masked assistants behind him raised a gun and shot Michael in the shoulder. Michael fell, the scalpel clattering. The shooter removed his mask. It was Marcus, the missing agent. Open quote, "We've been tracking your brother for months," he said, freeing me. "We just needed proof. You gave us that." Close quote. Michael, bleeding on the floor, glared up at me with hatred. Open quote, "You destroyed everything." Close quote. Open quote. "No," I whispered, "you destroyed yourself." Close quote. He was taken away in cuffs, later transferred to prison. But it wasn't over. Weeks later, trying to rebuild my life, I received a new message. A photo of me taken through my apartment window. Beneath it, one word, "Air." Michael was only one piece of a far bigger network. And now, they wanted me to replace him, or to join him in death. The Red Room never closed. It just waits for its next victim. Epilogue. I tried to live normally. Impossible, of course. How do you return to normal after feeling your brother's scalpel on your skin? I lived under protection, in a safe apartment, with a new identity, Adam. New life, new name, no meaning. Agent Marcus checked in from time to time. Open quote, "The organ network's dismantled, Adam. You're safe." Close quote. But his eyes told another story. Then one day, while browsing at a cafe, a pop-up appeared. "The father awaits the prodigal son. The door is open, the Red Room." Then it vanished. They'd found me. That night, a note appeared under my door. An eye inside a triangle, inside a circle. Under 347, I remembered. Client 347. The number from Michael's ledger. When I told Marcus, he finally confessed. Open quote, "The Red Room network wasn't independent. Michael was just a node in a far larger organization, the Consortium. Global. Organ trade, human trafficking, cybercrime. Worse. The Red Room was one of many." Close quote. Open quote, "Why didn't you tell me?" Close quote. Open quote, "Because they wanted you. The message you got wasn't a threat, it was an offer." Close quote. "They wanted me to take Michael's place. I refused. But curiosity ignored at me, so I agreed to meet them. Marcus wired me with a tracker. Open quote, "If you go in, we can't protect you inside. Be careful." Close quote. The address led me to an abandoned factory. Inside, marble floors, black glass walls, soft light. Luxurious, sinister. A man in a grey suit led me to a waiting room. Open quote, "He'll be here soon." Close quote. Then the door opened. Michael, not in chains, not in prison, in a grey suit, smiling. Open quote, "Little brother," he said gently, "I know you're shocked." Close quote. Open quote, How are you here?" Close quote. He laughed. Open quote, "Prison, trials, those are for ordinary men. The Consortium is beyond that. My death was staged. I'm free now, with a new title. Close quote. The arrest, the trial, it had all been a setup. Open quote. Why? I asked. Close quote. Open quote. To test you. Your loyalty, you passed, you helped us expose Marcus, now he's expendable. Close quote. My stomach dropped, I'd been used again. Open quote. The consortium wants you, John. You have what it takes, curiosity, intellect, moral detachment. Close quote. I'm nothing like you. Close quote. Open quote. Aren't you? You didn't go to the police, you wanted to know, you enjoyed the thrill. Admitted. Close quote. I hated him. Because part of that was true. He extended his hand. Open quote. Join us. Together we'll rule this world. Close quote. I looked at his hand, then into his empty eyes. Open quote. No. Close quote. His smile vanished. Open quote. That's a mistake, brother. Close quote. Open quote. You're not my brother. My brother died long ago. Close quote. Then alarms blared. Marcus and his team were breaching the building. Michael gave me one last look, cold, pitying. Open quote. You'll understand soon. Close quote. He escaped through a hidden passage. As we drove away, Marcus said, open quote, they'll come for you now. They won't stop. Close quote. Open quote. I know. Close quote. Outside, the city lights flickered like 1,000 red eyes watching me. Michael was right about one thing. Curiosity killed my innocence, but not my humanity. The story isn't over. It's just beginning. Because sometimes, to be the hero in your story, you have to become the monster in theirs. And the Red Room is still waiting.